Okay, this is AA Subunit 3, Lesson 9, Narrative Structure and Point of View. We're going to start in the Vocab app. I want you to pause the video, take 7 minutes to work in the Vocab app. Make sure you're mastering those words. Pause now. Alright, go into card 2. What's the primary conflict in fish cheeks? So going back to this text, you may need to listen or read again, but what's the primary conflict? Remember, conflict is the problem of the story. So what is the main problem of the story? And then at the end of the narrative, is the conflict or problem resolved? What makes you say so? So is there a solution or no? And then why do you think Tan decides to end her story this way? Then you're going to go to number 2. How do you know that she is younger? She is her younger self in these sentences. So you're going to first highlight in red 2 sentences where the narrator is speaking from the point of view of her younger self, and then answer how do you know she's younger there. Then you're going to highlight in blue 2 sentences where the narrator is speaking from her adult point of view, and then how do you know that she is her adult self in these sentences. Then you're going to go to number 3. You're going to work with your partner to discuss the conflict in My Mother's Garden. So what is the primary conflict in the narrative? How do you know? And then at the end of the narrative, is the conflict or problem resolved? What makes you say so? And then why do you think Greenidge decides to end her story the way that she does? So very similar to Fish Cheeks. And then you're going to go to number 2. You're going to highlight in red 2 sentences where the narrator is speaking from her teenage point of view. How do you know that she's a teenager here? Highlight in blue 2 sentences where the narrator is speaking from her adult point of view. And then how do you know she's an adult in these sentences? Why do you think Greenidge includes her adult point of view in these specific places? Then you're going to go to number 4. It's talking about planning for your personal narrative. So I want you to think about some of the writings that we have done so far, whether that be writing about a special memory, writing about something you enjoy, writing about something from elementary school, and then in a personal narrative, you're going to write out a longer version of these shorter narratives that we've been working on, to do something like Caitlin Greenidge did, the author of My Mother's Garden, or Amy Tan of Fish Cheeks, where they wrote multiple paragraphs about their story, and we get a more complete look at something that happened to them. So I just want you to put down 2 ideas of things you might write about, and then you're going to go to number 2. And you're going to start the beginning of your narrative. So how would you start your narrative? That's what you're going to write there. And then you're going to write 2 or 3 sentences that you might include in the middle of your narrative. So how would you start? And then what would be your middle? And then what might you put at the end? So this isn't going to be the complete narrative, but you're just getting some ideas of beginning, middle, and end. For the wrap-up, I just want you to think about the text we read, Going Solo, Fish Cheeks, and My Mother's Garden. If you had to pick just one, which would you use as an inspiration for your personal narrative? And then explain why would you choose that text. For the exit ticket, you're going to look at this text and you're going to talk about or answer questions about point of view. So whose point of view is included in this quote? How do you know? And then there's another question. Whose point of view is included in this quote? How do you know? Going into number 7, I want you to add to your beginning, middle, and end that you just wrote and start developing your narrative.